Okay, welcome to the Sunburnt podcast. I'm Thomas O'Brien, and this is my co-host, the funniest comedian on the planet, Chip Chantry. And we have some piping hot news for you.
Hot off the presses, scalding hot, piping hot news.
If you touch this news, it's so hot. What sound would you make? We're going to Hawaii on a comedy quest, and we want all of you to come with us this Thanksgiving, Chip.
We're going to Hawaii, baby, this Thanksgiving.
Chip, we are going to Hawaii this Thanksgiving, buddy. You're going to be performing, maybe some other people coming along with us. We have a dream of going to the islands, doing some comedy. How are you feeling about it?
I'm scared to death, and I'm so excited at the same exact time. I've never been to Hawaii. My wife has never been to Hawaii. You've been, so we're going to hear about it from you. But yeah. I'm not only am I going to Hawaii for the first time, I'm going to perform at the Blue Note Jazz Club, 2 shows, November 26th. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You're going to be there. Your family's going to be there. We want you to be there. Our new friends, our old friends. I can't believe we're doing this. It's 8 months roughly away, and we're taking that leap. We're going to Hawaii.
Yeah. And I couldn't be more excited about it, clearly, because we were like dedicating a large portion of our free time and efforts to making this thing happen, because it's just something we desperately want to exist in the world.
Yeah.
We both love comedy. We've dedicated our lives to it. Me as a television producer, Chip as a producer, writer, and comedian. And we also came to travel late in the game, did we not?
Yeah, we were homebodies. You know, we weren't super upwardly mobile. We didn't travel a whole lot of places as kids. And then I still remember that first time my now wife was like, let's go on a vacation. And I was like, we can't do that. That's for rich people. And then we just went, and it was amazing. And then and you had a very similar experience, I think. And
same exact thing with my now wife. She was like, let's go on a trip. And I was like, you mean drive to Vegas again? That's what I do whenever I have $200 saved up. Let's go. And she's like, no, how about we go a little bit further, experience some culture, experience some things. And that's how I ended up in Hawaii the first time. That's how we both ended up in Ireland and moving all over Europe. We've had a lot of good travels, but that's kind of what we're doing here with this thing. We're making a comedy quest out to Hawaii for Thanksgiving, and we just know that if people are like us, they're going to think it's exciting and want to go with. You know,
but also I want to agree and disagree with you.
Right.
I think if you're listening or watching out there right now, if you're also like us, you're like, there's no way I'm going to Hawaii. Like that's your gut instinct. And that's my gut instinct. I was like, no, when you brought this up to me a while back, I was like, no, I'm not performing in Hawaii. What? No. And then I realized that, oh, wait, no, it's feasible and I can do it. Why not? Why not just put a little effort into this thing? Let's make it happen rather than just let the world happen to me. So if you're sitting at home right now thinking, wait, these guys want me to come to Hawaii with them this Thanksgiving, that's absurd. No, it's not. Let's plan. Let's do it together. And let's all go out there. And in under a year, we'll all be sitting on the sandy beach of Waikiki together.
Dude, I'm so excited about it, and I'm honestly feeling a little uncomfortable about how earnest we're being about being excited about this thing. So let's
we are comedy writers, and earnestness does not come easy to us. We are cynical, ridiculous children, and we're trying earnestness for the first time, and it feels kind of good. There is a little bit of a shine to earnestness that I do enjoy. There is an importance of being earnest. I've been
there
told.
Certainly was in 1994, I believe. It is like we've also created a safe space for it here. I think just in any room or with most of our friends, like if we hadn't bonded together and had this idea, we would probably be trashing each other at this very moment. Like, oh, really?
100%.
You're gonna go out there, and people are gonna follow you, or people are gonna want to do this, and it's like, yeah, I think they are. I think people will. I know that it's all I want to do is, I love comedy. That's been pretty much my whole life. And then I love tropical locations. I love travel, and I just wanted to put them both together. This is the peanut butter and jelly for me. And you can tell I've only told a couple of people about it. This is the big announcement. Like, we have family members. We have tons of friends that don't know we're doing this.
They don't know about this. You guys are hearing about it, literally about this first.
But the few people I did kind of test it out on, that I did kind of be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Like, the people it connected with, it really connected with.
Yeah.
It really connected with, and they get this far off look in their eye, a half mischievous smile. And, of the 4 or 5 people that we've told collectively, we've had multiple people be like, oh, yeah, sign me up for, 5 tickets or 10 tickets. Like, I have a travel group. This sounds perfect. I have a travel Thanksgiving tradition. Like, we'll bring everybody there. It's been, I don't know. That's when I knew we were onto something potentially.
I'm not good at elevator pitches, but just to see the roller coaster of emotions that Charles Manson interview where you see him and they're like, who really is Charles Manson, whatever, and he just gets crazy and makes all those different things. Like, that's what I saw on half a dozen people's faces when I told them we were doing this thing with Hawaii. And they're right away, they're just like, what? No, that's absurd. And then the wheels start turning. They're like, oh, wait, we can go to Hawaii this Thanksgiving? And it's like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, we're in. And it just, so I'm so excited to see that, because this is not, I feel like this is a feel good thing right now, sort of like, motivational thing. And we are not those guys, or at least we weren't. And now we're like, no, we're going to make this happen. And I think a big part of it is that you and I worked together for years on TV shows all over the country, New York, LA, wherever. And
mostly New York and LA.
Mostly New York and LA. And that's where, our lives kind of changed there. We took that trajectory, and it was really going places. And I'm sure we'll be talking about that trajectory more throughout the episodes. But then the pandemic hit, and we had you and I had a big project in the works.
Yeah.
That the pandemic killed. And then we just kind of sat around, as most people did. And now we're picking up, sort of picking up the pieces, as a lot of people are over the last couple of years. And we're like, oh, wait, no, like, let's not just let things happen to us. We're going to make things happen. And
no, absolutely.
That's what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. Making things happen. And I think I was really inspired by just the, like a TikTok algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was so easy to shift into that version of life where you're just like swiping up to the next video. It's just like pigs coming up to the trough to just eat whatever they're being fed. I don't know. There was just like something that really clicked that's how a lot of people, it's really easy to fall into that mode of living life.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're not really planning. You're not really taking control. You're just kind of, watching the next video that life's thrown you. And I don't know. I think stuff like this, I think having trips planned out, something to look forward to, something to get excited about, some light at the end of the tunnel, whatever you're going through. Just like it's not only are the trips amazing, but it's so fun to get ready for them and plan for them and get excited about doing stuff. And especially when you're doing it with people, like if you just told me that your family and my family were going to go to Hawaii for Thanksgiving and just have a great time, like that's already so exciting. But we're doing this other thing. We're mixing in the comedy, which we both love, which you're awesome at. And we're trying to get, find more people that are like us, more people that want to do the things we want to do. So, all right, I'm about to throw up.
It is that ramp up, by the way. I know, because it's so saccharine, but it is. But this is like an 8-month long Advent calendar of every day opening up a door and getting ready for this, and it's so ridiculous. And what our goal is, honestly, and this is ridiculous, but I make fun of this all in my comedy special, Move Closer, available now on YouTube, produced by Mr. Thomas O'Brien, edited, put together by Mr. Thomas O'Brien. I make fun of it, and I make fun of people who use the work hard, play hard, analogy or whatever, not analogy, but I work hard and play hard. But that's exactly what we want to do, but in the most positive way possible. I want to work hard. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get a new hour of comedy together these next couple of months. We're going to kind of push hard and then just reap those rewards in November. And I'm excited, man. I can't believe we're doing this. I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night being like, what the hell are we doing? But this is what we got to do.
Yeah, and if you guys don't think this is real, I think it sounds weird, you could go right now to the Blue Note Hawaii webpage, and the tickets are on sale November 26th.
Yeah. Buy your tickets now, and then you're locked in. Start looking at plane fare and all that stuff, and we're going out, baby. And if you, by the way, if you think that this is like some sort of like weird cult that we're forming, we'll just let you figure that out.
Yeah, define weird. That's what I say.
Nobody ever says that it's a cult. Like, nobody's like, hey, I'm starting a cult. It becomes a cult. So we're not going to. I don't want to say that right now.
Yeah, we don't want to set the bar too high.
No. We did send away for the robes. The robes will be coming in on Amazon pretty soon. We're pretty excited to go. And the lamb's head. It's going to be great.
I know what you're thinking. Are the robes going to be too hot in a tropical location? We're going to find out. Is the lamb's head going to rot? Maybe. Not everything's going to be ideal, but it's going to be a really nice area, really nice weather. Mm-hmm. You might just be wearing some culty garbs, maybe being sat next to and worshiping some rotting meat.
And by the way, I think this is our perfect opportunity to do our first product placement, our first ad read. Please stick around for this. But and I just lost it. I had a joke and I just lost it. What did you call it? Dirty garbs? What did you just say they were called?
I don't know.
I forget. I had it and then I lost it, and that was going to be a great piece of business right there, and I totally lost it. It was like Hottie Garbs. I think it was Hottie Garbs. That's what we're going to go. That's all right. That's all right, Thomas.
Well, you might just be wearing some culty garbs. Culty garbs. Culty garbs. I think we can just keep it moving.
Okay, speaking of going on vacation. We love going on vacation, right?
We love vacation.
You're a tropical guy. I'm a tropical guy. I like going to the cooler areas too. We both loved Dingle, Ireland, which we'll talk about at some point. It's maybe my favorite place on earth that you and I both happen to be at, and at separate times. I've never been on a cruise. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I've never been on a cruise in my life. No,
and I don't know if I'm a cruise person. Like, maybe I'll try it someday and like think it's the greatest thing ever. It's like, as of right now, I don't know. I've never gotten on board the Love Boat. That's all I've said. I never have. So I don't want to shit talk it, but I don't know much about a cruise. However, we did see an article the other day because we try to keep up on travel news. All right. Okay. There was an article about, was it Carnival Cruise Lines? I think it was. Carnival Cruise Lines has a list of items that you're not allowed to bring on cruise. If you are going on a cruise, there's certain things you're allowed to pack and bring on board on the vessel, and there are certain things you cannot. And you can't bring weapons. You can't bring explosives.
Clearly.
You can't bring, some people try to bring scuba tanks because they're going to go scuba diving. You can't bring pressurized tanks. We've all seen the end of Jaws. So there's obviously things, but then there's things, obviously gray area things that some people apparently get bent out of shape when they try to bring on board, and then it gets confiscated, or they're told they're not allowed to have it.
I get it.
Well, yeah. We saw this article about how Carnival Cruise Lines has banned coffee makers. You can't
personal coffee makers.
You can't bring your own coffee maker, French press or otherwise. Like an actual. And basically, it's because they don't want glass and a heating element, in the little cabins. And some people got really bent out of shape that you can't bring your own coffee maker on board.
I mean, I can see from a standpoint where it might feel a little arbitrary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, and who reads the fine print too? When you're going on a cruise, like, are you like, I'm going on an airplane, and I still don't know what I'm not supposed to bring.
Right.
I just click right through it. Like every other disclaimer in the world, every app, every software you use, you just click right through it. So you show up, you've got your gourmet, pristine coffee maker that you want to put in your state's room, the one with a nice window and a balcony, and you want to enjoy your own cup of joe, and they're telling you no.
Yeah. And I just think it's like, if I'm going on vacation, I want to go experience vacation. Like, I don't need all the comforts I don't need everything, like I don't need little Tristan to bring his PlayStation with him, or just like every little, like, I want it to be different. I don't need all of my comforts.
Yeah, you're not paying to just have your life recreated a little shakier on the seas.
Exactly. And it's just, by the way, I don't understand packing a coffee. Like, I don't have room to put all my clothes in my suitcase, let alone kitchen appliances.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure my wife travels with kitchen appliances based on the weight and, size needs of her luggage. But, yeah, like I can also see, like, it's kind of like cruises are known for having very specific types of people. There's also very specific types of cruises. It's like I would imagine coffee makers are probably the 15th to 20th most objectionable thing that would be in the average person's like cruise luggage.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just
there's going to be other, there's got to be other things that aren't allowed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what are people actually bringing on where they're really getting into it? Like, like they're checking out they're shaking down your bunk, your cabin.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me, behind that terrarium full of iguanas. Is that a matchbook right there? We're not allowed to have that right there.
Yeah. I just like, I think just like of the amount of, romance toys, let's call them, that some people might be lugging onto one of these things, the old ripping and the tearing guy. You ever see that guy?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a cruise man. And I can't imagine the crap that would be in his luggage. And the fact that somebody would be like moving past this 12-inch, dark one, this 8-inch light one, all the Diddy baby oil you can even imagine, and just like, let's get that. What is this? You're trying to make a hot beverage in here?
Yeah. No.
Let's go. We're gonna push right past these roofies, and we're taking out that Mr. Coffee.
Behind these freezer bags full of raw horse meat, is that a skateboard? Yeah. You just can't have that. Hey, under that tween that you've shoved inside a duffel bag, are those Heelys? You're not allowed to have Heelys on board. By the way, I think that was my favorite. As I was looking through the list of things Carnival Cruise Line you can't have is Heelys, like the little roller shoes for kids. Because that like some little Josh like just rolled right off deck one time.
Oh yeah, dude, a perfect 10 right over the railing. Was the king of the world until he got a little too fast on the old Heelys. Have you ever used those before, Chip? Have you ever?
I thought you were going to ask if I ever fell off a cruise ship before. No. I've never used Heelys. Have you? Was that?
No, I'm terrified to use pretty much normal roller skates, ice skates. Like it's all very, very scary to me. I remember there was like one of those PTO fundraisers when I was a kid. And my dad, the best dad in the world, like such a good dude, always made time to be at like all of that stuff that like being a grown up now, I'm like, oh yeah, probably roller skating with 200 elementary school children and their parents is like not exactly what I want to do after like a long day of work, but he definitely did it. And I showed up there, laced up the skates, and it was not 15 seconds before he banana peeled it straight onto his tailbone, baby.
Was there a broken coccyx involved?
I mean, if we had enough money to go to the doctor, I'm sure we would have found something cracked. We used to growing up, there was a lot of just wild speculation that whatever we were feeling was soft tissue and we didn't need to go to the doctor.
No, yeah, that's all you need. You walk it off, put a little ice and heat on it. I have so many traumatic experiences from roller rinks growing up.
Really? Do tell.
So first of all, I was in about second grade. My dad was between jobs and he just started a new business. He was delivering bread. He worked for a grocery store and then he started delivering bread. So he was working for himself. So there was a couple months where we didn't have health insurance before he got his health insurance. And we really wanted to go roller skating, but he's like, you're not going roller skating. If you break your arm, we can't afford to send you to the emergency room, So he just went to State Farm Insurance. This Larry, his insurance agent, was the nicest guy, and he said, "Look, we have car insurance with you. We're waiting for health insurance. Is there something you can do? My kids want to go roller skating." And the guy, at the good of his heart, he goes, "Look, write me a check for $200 right now. Don't send it. Just keep it on your desk. Write me a check." He's like, "If they come back all in one piece, just rip it up, and you're good." And like that was that's a nice thing to do. You know what I mean?
That's
nice
a really nice thing to do.
We didn't break our arms. Two other things that I remember from roller skating. I was in 4th grade, and it was one of those nights. It wasn't just like roller skating night. It was the elementary school was all there.
Everybody's there.
I was a little nerdy kid, and they do the see. This is where it always goes south. The double skate.
Yep.
The hold hands. Let's put a romantic song on, so you tweens can feel inferior.
Find another lover sweeter than you, sweeter than you.
And you're just roller skating with a gal on your hand.
Yeah.
So
that's big. That's big. You did it. You went up. You asked the lady. You're like, let's roller skate, gal in hand.
Oh no, I did not.
All right,
No, not this guy. Here's how bad I was. I remember being in middle school, going to those, and then this is might be the saddest moment of my life. When we're getting into it, right? First episode right now. This might be the lowest point in my life. I was like 13. And I was too afraid to ask a girl to like skate with me when it was that. So I just went to the arcade portion to play video games.
This is classic move.
I was poor. I had no money left. So the entirety of that romantic song, I just pretended to play Spy Hunter.
Wow.
I just stood there and pretended to play it so it looked like I was occupied. I didn't even have a quarter for the machine anymore because I was all out. So I'm broke and I can't talk to girls. So I just, like, holding back tears, I'm pretending to play. It just says game over, and I'm just pretending that until that song was over. That was the lowest point. The second lowest point was a few years before that, 4th grade. For whatever reason, the double skate was Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. And, like, not to date myself, but, like, I was in 4th grade when Living on a Prayer was at its peak. Like, this is not throwback, hey, let's just do it at a college bar or something like this. This is, like, peak Bon Jovi era. And so if you didn't have a date or somebody to find, you couldn't skate to, like, the most popular song of the year. And I'm just standing on the edge. And one of the class bullies, who was like, I got along with him, but he was like this big, scary kid in my class, really wanted it. And he goes, I don't care, Chip. I'm singing. I'm skating the song. So he just grabbed my hand and dragged me around the roller rink. So he and I just went hand in hand to Living on a Prayer as he just dragged me around the roller rink. And I just remember my parents were there, and I just saw the look on my father's face as he just saw just the class bully dragging me around as his date around and around and around. And that was I've really reached some low points at roller skating rinks in my life.
So your dad was there watching that, like.
Yeah.
I've met your father, very nice man. But in that moment, like, what's going through his mind? He's like, well, Chip's gonna make some fella pretty happy someday.
Or it's like, maybe I should throw the ball around with him a little bit more. And it was just like a thing where it was just like, well, he's definitely. I think it was the moment. I'm sure my dad knew this, but like, it was the moment where I just extinguished any hopes for alpha energy coming out of this part of the Chantry household. Do you know what I mean? He's like, this is not. He's not the killer instinct kind of kid. He is the I'll get drug around to Bon Jovi. I think he pretty much nailed it. I mean, he got the energy that I was giving off, apparently.
Yeah. No. That's interesting. And then also, like, I love a bully. I love a bully who's like, I'm willing to break norms, but not the rules. Let's go hand in hand.
Let's go hand in hand, because God forbid I go, single. But he's like, no, we're doing this. Let's go. And I was like, I really didn't have a say in the matter. But hey,
and also, what are you going to do? You're on wheels. You're very mobile, Chip. You're very easy to move around at that point. You've never been more easy to move around.
No, I was just, I was 78 pounds of just, I was a 78-pound scooter. That's all he needed to do. There was nothing. I was basically like his roller suitcase. He's going through the airport in Chicago, a la the Home Alone. Just running, dragging their suitcases along. I was the suitcase.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Yeah. I had one more. There was one more story. It's not even my story. It was a buddy of mine when I first moved to town. He was, it at times could be a little shy.
Yeah.
And he was working on a TV show where, like, for some reason, he ended up coming in close proximity to a Playboy Playmate, Chip.
Oh, okay.
La. So, like, he's just like, I met this girl. Like, she's nice. She's very sweet. She's a Playmate. Like, I've got to try to ask her out.
Yeah.
And he did. He got up the guts. He asked her out. And he took her, like, I forget where it was, but there was an ice skating rink somewhere here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, okay.
An ice skating rink. And he's got this girl out there, not even arguably way out of his league, just like way out of his league. But he came off charming or nice or whatever he did.
He's walking the walk.
Got her on this date. And not too unlike my father. He was like, we were literally out on the ice for less than a minute. She fell and broke her arm clean in half, Chip. Clean in half. He laid it all out there, got the date, and then a traumatic injury almost immediately. And
wow.
Like, if my memory serves me correctly, it wasn't even like a we'll talk about it, we'll make sure you're okay, we'll blah blah blah. It was a straight up, like, I think my phone number got deleted, never was able to talk to her again. Type of, like, that's a pretty good sign that, like, the universe doesn't want you to, like, date this dude, I would say.
To paraphrase the Jay Giles band, this centerfold had her blood run cold. Honestly.
I mean, like, I'm sure when it hit the ice, it got cold.
It got very cold. Wow, that's. I mean, if you have a centerfold or somebody out of your league, like, maybe he was a great ice skater, like a Michael Scott situation where he wanted to show off to her. But,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But, like, that is a risk to like a first date to go ice skating right off that. Like, come on, miniature golf it. Let's go to dinner. You know, let's something a little less extreme sports, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was one of the things. It's like, when you were feeling a little insecure, you go a little too big.
You really do.
It's like, I need to make this worth the while. And maybe that's how he got her out there. Maybe that was the offer. She's like, oh, I didn't know you could ice skate in Los Angeles. Huh.
Mm-hmm. I know a guy, gets
what's the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When was your first experience asking a girl out? I feel like you were an early bloomer. Like, you were like a 4th, 5th grade kid.
No. Not even close. Right. Not even close. I was a very late bloomer. And I'm trying to remember, like, I think it was probably to a school dance, because there was a lot of pressure to, like, actually ask people out. And I think, God, I might have been 15.
Okay.
And there was this, and, like, I don't know. It's just like, everybody's like, you got to ask somebody. It's like homecoming or whatever it is. And there was a girl who was new in town, and she was friends with a friend of mine. We'd hung out a couple of times. I'm like, she probably doesn't have a lot of options. Mm-hmm. Would be glad just to be asked.
Yep.
And I like asked her, and she went, no. It was an immediate giggle and then a no. So I think that was probably the first real ask, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Oh, that's a rough one too. I apologize.
It is a rough one. And then this wasn't being asked, but, like, it was such a weird, like, turn of events that it was I had a friend that went to my school that went to Thurston High School, where one of the early shootings was.
Oh, okay.
Like, school shooting. Yeah, it was, like, not a good situation. It was a bummer. And, like, he literally moved in part because of that. It was so traumatic. Moved down to Southern Oregon. And
by the way, right on our first episode of the podcast, I do like that you're taking a stand that school shootings are, in fact, bummers.
Well, I mean, like, I've been.
You've put it out there, line in the sand right now, just so people at home understand. Total buzzkills.
Yeah, I like to virtue signal too.
You're anti. You're very anti.
I'm very
I appreciate
anti.
that. I'm glad we got ahead of that. Yeah.
So it was a year or two after that. Me and my buddy, we went back to his school for a dance. Like he just wanted to go visit his friends. His parents thought it would be good. They, made concessions to like help us get up there, and like we stayed with some of his friends, I think, and went to a dance at his school. And like I very, very like vividly remember like just being like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like if I get shot down, like I don't know any of these people. And then the first girl I went to ask to dance immediately was just like, I don't know you. No. And I've never like withered faster in my whole life. I walked up there very confident, like, hey, you want to dance? And she's like, no. And I went to my buddy and he was like, that was pretty rough. And I was like, yeah, that stunk. And he's like, next time, like, try and talk to a girl that doesn't have a boyfriend, maybe. And I was like, I don't know who has a boyfriend and who doesn't have a boyfriend. Like, help me out.
Yeah, point me in the right direction, buddy.
Yeah. What about you, dude? You got a first ask out story?
I'm such a late bloomer, and I remember, and I almost forgot about this. I did basically ask a girl out in 8th grade. We were very good friends, and I had a big crush, and she let me down like very easy, she let me down so well that I didn't realize that I was being let down, basically. And then I just sort of forgot about it after a while, and I was like, all right. And I just moved on. And that was in 8th grade. And I was shocked. I shocked myself that I was able to even ask, like, blown away, because I was not that kid. I was such a nerdy kid. And
give me this. Like, what's going on in your stomach pre-asking her out compared to pre your first stand-up set?
I think I was a little bit more confident than my first stand-up set, because I just, ignorance is bliss. You're 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just scared to death. Just scared to death, And it was, luckily it's like in front of one person rather than, 50 people. But it's, I think stand-up was harder. Although I will say I've had much more success at stand-up than with women. I will say that. Much more success, which isn't saying much, which is not saying a lot. Although I did end up, we both have wonderful wives.
I was going to say you married Kim. You're doing better than that.
Yes, historically, but yes, I mean, happy ending right now, like definitely that. But yeah, no. So I did that, and there was that brief moment, and then that was just a blip, and then it was years because we had our prom in 11th to 12th grade, and then we had the semi-formal in 9th and 10th grade. So didn't go in 9th grade, like didn't ask a girl, could not ask a girl at all.
Yeah.
And then 10th grade, couldn't ask a girl. This is one of the, those moments of just complete embarrassment and just regret in your life, and just you feel awful. And I will wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this decades later. A girl asked me, very sweet, very cute girl. She was great. We were sort of, we weren't super close, but we were friendly, and blindsided me. She just asked me to the thing, and I wasn't planning on going. I was so scared, and I said okay, and I was way more scared then than when I asked the girl out in 8th grade, because there was like, what did I just agree to? I can't. She was great, but I was so nervous and so scared. I was like, I can't dance with her. I can't go out to dinner with her before. I can't do this. I'm in 10th grade, and I couldn't do it. This is awful.
Jim, where's this going, buddy?
About a week before the dance, I backed out.
Chip.
I told her I had to work, which I did. I was scheduled to work. I stocked shelves at the grocery at the pharmacy down the street from my house, and I could have probably gotten off and been like, hey, on my big dance, can I get rescheduled or whatever? But that was just my opportunity to just pull the ripcord. Wow. And I was just like, I'm sorry, hey, I can't go, I have to work. And again, it was true, but I was just so scared. And to this day, she ended up going with a friend of mine, so I was so glad she found somebody. But it's like, I'm sure it was just like, it's just the most cowardice thing I think I've ever done in my entire life. I couldn't handle it. And then it was another year or two until I had the courage to do it again. I mean, it was just stops and starts. And then literally, I won't get into this whole story, but like the first time I really like kissed a girl without getting too graphic was literally like I was attacked by an older girl, in high school, like just attacked. And it was the greatest thing in the world, but like I couldn't make that first move, and it was just like, okay, we're good, we're done. And then
you were back in the 6th grade roller rink all over again, being dragged by the hand,
being dragged around, and that's what you need to do with Chip Chantry.
That's exciting. Well, how exciting to be a young man and just have somebody jump you.
Yeah, and it's just like that's what had to happen, or it wouldn't be happen, or you and I would be doing the biggest incel podcast in the world right now, decades later, probably.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be good. Well, I think there's one thing that does come to mind. I think we could get your wife on board because she's a very cool cat.
Yes.
I think you should take that girl that you bailed on to a dance today.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Let's get you guys out there. You can rent the tux, take her to a nice dinner.
Yep.
And then go dance, at your high school at one of their actual functions, and just do a make good.
I think it is. I'm fairly certain she is married and happily married with many children. I think I don't know, but sure. I think it's time to make amends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think right's right.
Yeah.
And I think there's no time.
When did you make it work? Like, when was your so you had this. What, in 10th grade maybe? This girl shoot you down.
And
then did you get back on the horse, or did you just stay in the stable for a while?
Not really. I ended up being okay at sports, thank goodness.
Okay, yeah.
And then I did I would put in the bare amount of effort because I was just terrified of getting shot down.
Yeah.
And then this is so stupid. I literally think in college I saw the movie Van Wilder. Ryan Reynolds, and I was just like, oh, that's what having confidence looks like. And I was like, I think you can just have it. I think you can just have it. And from that point on, I think I kind of turned a corner, and I was just like, if you want to date somebody, you should go tell them that and ask them and say make your intentions known. I would like to go on a date with you. Would you like to go on a date with me? And I think that has good results if you're a nice, straightforward person, especially at that time, because a lot of guys were like, you want to hang out sometime, or you want to do a group thing or whatever. It's like you said with that girl who let you down so nicely you didn't know.
Yes.
It's like if you
and
ask
that's by the way, that's exactly what I did. I totally rolled it into do you kind of want to do something sometime? It's not do you want to be my girlfriend?
Yeah, I think you just gotta ask, because I think most of my any dating I did in high school was pretty straightforwardly initiated by the girls. And I was just, thrilled anybody was paying attention,
Yeah. I'm thrilled anybody's paying attention right now to this podcast. I think that's why we're doing this, because we both were in comedy. I'm a stand-up comedian. You did comedy for years. We got into television, and it's just our need to please people and just to get some gratification back. I mean, that's all it is. We just want the world to love us.
Yeah, no, you want.
And
the
we
world
haven't figured it out yet.
To love you, and I think more than anything, it was just a defense mechanism from all the social awkwardness and all the feeling weird, and I remember very distinctly sometime around high school realizing that after somebody had a conversation with me, they were probably less sure of who I was as a human being than before.
Right.
Because there was I was saying nothing of substance. It was bits. It was this. It was that. It was look at that funny T-shirt. Why is that bird weird? There was very little. And then just a very comfortable ability to just whatever you think's what I think, It's just
of course. Yeah.
Big yes-ander on viewpoints, and I will flip-flop like a fish even till this day. Whatever you like, Chip, if I start feeling like I'm tiptoeing on icier waters with you, I'll be like, yeah, and that's not how I feel, and I feel the way you feel, and it's great.
I'm going to agree with everything you say. I was told in middle school that girls loved a guy with a sense of humor, and you get told that when everything else fails. When you don't have the looks, when you don't have the charisma, when you don't have the athletic prowess, they're like, "You're funny. Girls like that." And in 7th grade, I leaned really hard into that, and I got really into the Three Stooges, and I was like, well, girls are gonna because
the sexiest of all comedians,
the sexiest of
it's like three Dane Cooks, baby.
Yeah, I went to a Three Stooges convention a couple of years ago with our good friends from the Found Footage Festival, Nick and Joe.
Oh my God,
we went. I don't think I've ever seen less women in my life.
Yeah,
than a Three Stooges convention. And
boy, and if they did, they kind of looked like Shemp.
Yeah, they all did, But man, in middle school, I was like, well, I'm going to be funny. And like and by the way, girls loved me being funny, then that was it. I was just the court gesture, the court gesture. And then I just went, and then they went to find the prince, and I was not that prince, but I was funny and I got funny. And here we are, Thomas.
I mean, that's fantastic, buddy. I was nobody ever told me I had no plan in place. I just didn't have anything
nor
going
did I. I heard things, Yeah.
I had nothing going on, so I was just watching Kids in the Hall 20 episodes in a row after school. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what you did. You came home, you watched Kids in the Hall, Mystery Science Theater, and then you went and talked to your friends about it and your nerdy friends that you had, and then and then like a girl would sort of overhear it, and you're like, yeah, did you see Mano Sands of Fate? And she's like, what are you talking about, nerd? And then you just go back to talking about Mano Sands of Fate. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. I remember and I think this is coming back full circle to a little bit what we're doing here. But I do remember in high school, or no, it was like junior high. There was a kid I was not friends with at all, like did not know him. But like I heard through the grapevine that he also stayed up late and watched Saturday Night Live. So yeah. I was just like, oh, there's other people like me. And then like I really didn't seek it out. I was just always kind of the guy who was trying too hard to be funny in a group of friends for a really long time. But when I finally did make my way into like, the comedy scene here, or like, the first couple of TV shows I worked on, and I was just like, oh, there's a ton of people who are exactly like me.
Yeah.
In different ways. They have different skill sets, but like they've been obsessed with this thing their whole life. And it's just like, it's one of those things where you don't have to, it's not hard to interact with those people. No. And I feel like almost every social interaction I've ever had outside of that context has been like me really, really, really wanting everybody to like me and like feeling like I'm not connecting.
Yeah.
At least for a very long time. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Like, we love comedy. We love travel. We love tropical stuff. And we're also just very, very keen, especially at this point in the world, on trying to live a life that we want to on purpose. Whether that's employment stuff, or whether that's vacation stuff, or whether that's just how we want to structure and spend our time. Like, we want to start and continue making sure that like we get one trip around this earth. We want to make sure that we're doing the best thing we can. And we want to find other people who are the same. Like, I'm just sure they're out there. And through the gift of the internet, I think we're going to connect with a bunch of you. And we just want to be a place where people can come together, can have conversations, can find people that are like-minded, and take some cool trips as a community where we do, fun, funny stuff. And, just celebrate all those good things. I once again want to throw up. That was way too earnest for me.
It really was. Yeah, I'm shaking in anger and fear right now, based on what you just said and the way you said it, Thomas.
Yeah,
because we're just cynical jerks, and we're trying really hard to be a little earnest. And I think that's the beauty, but that is the beauty of it. It's the balance. Do you know what I mean? You're taking the bullet for us, because I would say the same exact thing. It's like, we just like, as I think most of us did, I felt like an outcast in high school. Mm-hmm. Even though I was voted best personality my senior year, of which I was a theater kid too, and that was my best acting job ever, was convincing people that I liked them because I hated everybody. And but then I but I kind of found my people in college. I was in a fraternity. I loved those guys. I still love those guys. They're great, but I always still felt a little bit on the outside. And then when I started doing stand-up, it's like, again, oh, these are my people. And then even from that, when I started writing on TV shows with you and the found footage guys, McKeever, all those guys, that was even more so. I was like, oh my God, and now after all those years of doing that, of like, you and I are now spearheading that. It's like, let's find our people even more and like kind of almost give that back to those people. Did I just say give that back? Like
you said that with a straight face, wearing a Hawaiian shirt in your basement.
I hate myself right now.
I know. It's really this is really one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my whole life, is being this. Oh, fudge.
I just need to. This is we want people to have fun. We want people to kind of have a little community, but I need to just sit up and I just need to take a breath and not vomit right now.
It's hard. I'm like literally shaking a little bit. No, it's good though. It's good though. This is why we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. It's part of it. Oh man. Is there anything funny to talk about, Chip?
I think we've just ended it. It's just we're becoming like, it's like it's a cross between like the fun dad and like a motivational speaker who's about to be arrested. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe I feel like we're putting off right now. We're both wearing Hawaiian shirts. Like you said.
Know. We did it on purpose. We talked about it. We're like, we'll wear the Hawaiian shirts for the first one. We're going to Hawaii.
We are not wearing Hawaiian shirts every episode. Please, this is just every once in a while to come out, but we wanted to do something,
Yeah, we've agreed. It's mostly going to be tank tops and or sarongs.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've I have our sarong budget is it's through the roof for this podcast.
It's 4x every other line item in the budget. And that 100%. Includes, like you do have 4 or 5 coffee makers. I saw that come through. And
I'm taking every single one of them to Hawaii.
Yeah, because you can. That's why we're not going on a cruise, Chip.
No. It's an island. It's not going anywhere. It's not. You can't. I don't know. A cruise just. Again, I don't want to down talk a cruise because I've never been on one, but it's just like, I just think there's a danger element to it, which is kind of cool, but is also ridiculous. Like,
there's only a danger element to you and me. We are both like crippling hypochondriacs. We are very worried about getting sick. You hear about the norovirus.
Oh my God, that is horrific. And then you're just like stuck.
Yeah, a buffet is tough for me. Like in great circumstances, a buffet at sea is very scary to me.
Yeah.
But like I will say, like I'm not ruling out a cruise. I mean, like I understand those things, like, but like it's also like, the reason why I have a tough time in public restrooms. It's like I know they're not bad. It's just like it's a little scary to me.
And you've also been arrested in a couple of public restrooms too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that always has that memory comes back to you many times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, but we've all had that experience, right? You're in there doing your business and the cops bust through the stall door. They start screaming at you. It's not your name, but you look like the guy, and they drag you out of there and you spend a night in the clink before your parents can come pick you up.
Yeah. Yep. And then the next night you go to the senior prom. Stag.
Absolutely. But I think a cruise, I'm here for it, dude. Like given the opportunity, it's like there's finances, and then oftentimes like really your schedule's a lot of times the biggest limiting factor, and like the right circumstance, if I had time available and the family wanted to go, like I would try out a cruise. Like, and there's a bunch of different kinds. Like
I like a theme cruise. I think like a theme cruise week, like that where you're all the same. It's like, hey, we all
love Three Stooges cruise.
Like a Three Stooges cruise. Yeah, no, it like something like, I think like I could be wrong about this, like a band, like, a Weezer cruise. Do you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
everybody likes the same band. Or
I would be there in this when we were getting ready for this podcast and during this last couple of months. Like, it has been so long since I like even just put on a brand new album and listened to it all the way through. Mm-hmm. And 311, a band who I just had not really thought about in a really long time, put out a new album recently. And I listened through the whole thing. I just had it on my Spotify. It wasn't on shuffle. It was just going through while I was doing some computer stuff and whatever else. And I just got way into it, and I started being like, "What have these guys been up to?" And looking around a little bit on the internet, and they're is exactly where you were at a certain point. They were just like, I saw an interview like, "We don't like cruises. We don't really think we'd like to go on cruises," and now they do a cruise every year with their fans, and they're like, "It's one of our favorite things. We're just on a ship full of these people. It's good vibes. We do a couple of different shows. We invite the people, our friends and family can be on there, and it's beautiful weather in a beautiful location." Like, I get the nice parts of it.
Yeah.
I also get fixating on the parts we're scared of, or the parts that might sound not as fun to us. But it's
going overboard is weird. Like, I've had always pretty good. Like, I've never fallen off of vacation before. Do you know what I mean?
It would be tough.
It would be tough to do that. By the way, speaking of 311, I'm bragging here right now, but I hadn't heard 311 for a while. What's his name? Peanut from 311. Is that his name?
Oh yeah.
He contacted me. He contacted me on Instagram based on one of my clips on Instagram from my special, Move Closer, available now on YouTube, that you edited and put together and put out there in the world about concerts and sports. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm like," he was totally, that was one of the coolest things too, that when that happened, I talked to him. I talked to the lead singer of Better Than Ezra. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this right now." And he was like, "Hey man, that was a great, that was very funny." Whatever. And I was just like, this is, man, if I can just get the Toad the Wet Sprocket guy and somebody from the band live to get to me, I'm good.
They were too busy throwing copper.
They were.
I want to put a little revision. Like, I was following during that time too. We put out that special. Chip did an amazing job. If you haven't seen it, Move Closer, Chip Chantry on YouTube.
He did a great job of editing and producing the whole thing. Yeah.
No, it's really, really good. Like, you've been one of my favorite comedians for forever.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
You've also like had opportunities to do specials before. I just like kind of didn't want to, or I can't speak to your mind, but like, the time was right, and you were just like, I just want to be in control of this thing. I want it to be exactly the way I want it to be, and I don't want anybody else giving me any thoughts. And that was very easy for me to respect, because you put together your show, and let's just edit it up in a way that feels as close to being in the room as we can. And you had a big old beautiful crowd come out there. It
was amazing. They were great.
And you just crushed it, dude. You just crushed it. And I think the special is special in a time when there's a lot of specials out there. And I also like, and I'm not going, like, I think maybe it's a vibe that's just going around. Maybe more people saw it than we thought, like, kind of that were in the industry. But I've seen a lot of specials since then heading that direction, like giving you a little more of the feel in the room, cutting out, I mean, whatever's happening with these sketches or whatever at the top of the specials. Like, I never understood it. I got it that, like, you have some money and you want it to feel like something else. Let's do something.
Let's produce
up top.
something. Sure. Yeah.
And I get it, like HBO, all that stuff. But like, when it's going straight to the people, especially people that don't know you, I think they want to just see you do your thing. And I think you want that to be the first taste in their mouth. And that's what your special is, man. It's so good.
Thank you. And I'm such a music fan too. Like, you know me, like, I love music so much. And I was kind of pushing for, like, well, what's the theme music going to be? We have to have some sort of singer or whatever. You're like, no. We're just getting into it. And I was like, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have some music. And then you showed me the edit, and I was like, there's literally no need for it. Like, it just cold open, boom, starts, done. And it's off to the races, and just the pacing you did with the editing was great. So I was so happy with it. It turned out I couldn't have been happier with it. So
yeah, well, it was largely your performance, the pacing, but also the whole crew, everybody that worked on that thing.
Paul and Devin, our boy Alex Dingley, who
helped
helped
the audio
put
on
all
too.
of this here, so you can help thank Alex for that.
Yeah, no, it's it was a great thing. And yeah, like, it also, like, let's be honest, like, we weren't going to get the Eagles for the opening theme song. Like, it was going to be like some version of, like, Hustling Friends or trying to get something. But like, it just felt right for this, especially since it's your first one, and just knowing, kind of like, I've spent a lot of time doing algorithmic stuff, especially in comedy on the internet. And I know if you don't get into it, people who are looking for that are going to get out immediately.
Yes. Yeah.
I
no, just get into the jokes.
Yeah. Early on in like, you know, when digital TV shows started to be a thing, like Facebook was trying to start their own network basically on their thing. And we were doing like this comedy game show. Asif Ali, who's a great comedian and actor, was the host of it. And I remember talking to the showrunner on that thing, and he was just like, you know how long the average person watches this show? And I was just like, I don't know. I have no idea. And he was like, less than 4 seconds. So it's like, when you're on the internet, like I don't have a lot of principles in life about anything, but like when you're on the internet and you're doing something, especially that's algorithm heavy, like introducing something, you got to get right into it, dude. You got to, and you did. And the special really, really overperformed and over-indexed on every possible metric versus like what your presence was before. So I think you made a lot of good choices. You had an absolutely great set, and it was so fun to do too. It's just like not having a network, not having anybody looking over our neck, asking for this and that.
Because that's what we dealt with for years of working on TV shows, where like we would have some of the most fun ideas in the writer's room, and then we create things, and then by the time it comes out the other end, you're like, that's not the way I pictured the talking toilet to work.
I know what show you're talking about there. It's I'm sure there's better pipelines. Like clearly we've all seen TV shows that we love and we care for, but like we never found ourselves in one of those where the executives and the networks were like, clearly this whole team knows exactly what they're doing better than us. Like, let's just let them rock. It's like all these people, they might not necessarily be comedy people. They hire a bunch of folks to make a TV show, and then they want to put their stamp on it. And it's ultimately one of the highest stamps. And sometimes it just, it's such a cocktail of different influences that go into trying to make something funny and a whole package and all that stuff. And, when you just have somebody who wasn't in there making the stew with you, that didn't quite get what the recipe was, adding the extra garnishes at the end, it's just a really tough thing to do. I don't think I'm particularly good at it. When people
I think you're great. Like because you taught me, I didn't realize how much of comedy, because it was before it was my first TV writing job, of like how important editing is, of like just the timing of the editing. Because like you could have these editors who are like brilliant editors who edited some of the greatest television or movies ever, but if they didn't edit comedy, and then there's an extra 2 seconds here or an extra thing here, didn't cut to this, a joke just dies on the vine. And so there's just all those extra little things that you have to put into it that you don't realize when you're just like, well, just write funny lines, have the person say the funny things, and then it'll be funny. It's like, no, there's so many other pieces that have to be perfect in order for it.
No, I mean, maybe that's like a bias thing too on my part, because that's how I came up. Like I was in post, I was editing first. Like I arguably learned the timing of comedy before I learned anything else at a professional level. Like, I would work on shows where we had like, the Gary Lucy's of the world just in there, just clear cutting whole forest by himself joke wise.
Gary Lucy is one of my heroes in comedy and in life. He is a joke machine.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that. One of the first thing, like it rings so true to me till this day. He was just like, he told me I must have been like 24. I was a young gun. And I asked him, I was like, he was a writer. I was just kind of helping with the edits on stuff. And I was like, what do I need to have a career? And he was like, I don't know what you need to have a career, but he's like, I can tell you got to be a comedy factory and not a comedy warehouse. He's like, you have to continuously be manufacturing new jokes, new things, new premises, new ideas. Because if you're one of those guys that had 3 funny ideas 10 years ago and you're still hanging around with them or trying to shoehorn in old jokes or trying to do this and that, nobody's going to want to be around you, and you're going to be bummed out with where you end up. And I was like, I think that's like, I had no idea like if that was true or not, but I was like, that sounds pretty prophetic at the time. And like, as time's gone on, like, holy cow, was he right? Like,
yes.
There are people that are just like entrenched in what they were trying to do 10 years ago, and the world changed, the industry changed. Sometimes old projects can come back or whatever, but like, you gotta keep moving if that's what you want to be doing. You got to be a factory, not a warehouse. You can't just store old ideas. You need new ideas, new jokes, new humor. And like, he walked that walk too. Like, the dude, just 50 jokes on anything you want, man.
Yeah, amazing. By the way, this is the Sunburnt podcast. It might turn into the Comedy Warehouse podcast. I don't know. I don't know. That does sound like a beautiful place to just ride out the rest of your life.
It does, but at the same time, we know comedy rots quicker than almost any other type of art.
You got to be a factory, baby. You got to be a factory and put it out there.
Yeah, a Comedy Warehouse will smell like dog shit.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Yeah, a real fragrant how do you do.
Yeah. Do we have to get out of here? I don't even know. I don't even know what we're doing time-wise, Tommy.
Yeah, I think I think we can get out any time, but why don't you? I know you got a bunch of stuff coming up, man. Why don't you tell us what you got going on?
Yeah, depending on when you're hearing this, on Saturday, March 15th, the Ides of March, baby. On Saturday, March 15th, I'm going to be in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, at Steel Stacks, the Arts Quest Center at Steel Stacks. It's literally one of my favorite places on earth. Our boys, the Found Footage Festival, Nick and Joe, they play there every year. I go up there every year. It's so much fun. It's one of the most beautiful places. I'm doing that on March 15th. So you can go to Steel Stacks Arts. I think it's artsquestcenter.org. And on April 11th, it's a Friday, I'm going to be at the Pyramid Club in Philadelphia on top of a skyscraper, Tommy. I'm doing stand-up. It might be the highest up I've ever performed. And it'll be on the 52nd floor. It's on the top of a skyscraper. It's literally a pyramid at the top of a building. It feels like very Scientology-like, but it is a legit pyramid. And I'll be there on Friday, April 11th in Philadelphia at the Pyramid Club. And then I actually did. I'll be there, but I'm not performing. But on Saturday, March 29th, I'm going to be, I've co-created a show at Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia with the owner of Helium, and it's called Rock Bottom, and it's sort of a musical kind of weird thing, and there's going to be a cover band playing. There are going to be a lot of just like fun 80s and 90s and 2000 songs playing. You can sing along, and then like some other weird stuff is going to happen that I can't tell you about. You have to show up to find out what's going to happen during the course of the show. So I co-created that show. So that's what I got going on. And then find me just at Chip Chantry and everything, and then find us at Sunburnt Pod
everywhere
on all the socials at Sunburnt Pod. And how about you, Tommy?
I mean, always a lot of stuff in the old cooker on the producing end. Nothing I'm ready to announce yet, but I'm going on a trip with my family this weekend, man.
What are you doing?
Taking the baby. Just a couple of our couple friends that also have kids. We're going to have a nice long weekend up in Ojai. So really looking forward to that. And also just like, it's time. It's time to reemerge and start doing more stuff like that. I always love doing it so much. I am very hesitant to commit though. So my wife got involved in this one really early. This has been on the books for like 4 months. It's finally here. Mm-hmm. And just excited to go chill out this weekend.
That's great. Oh, very jealous, man. Very jealous. That's great.
Yeah, buddy. Well, we're going to be back here next week. So get ready. And if you guys want to check it out, it is real. Blue Note Hawaii. Tickets
November
are up.
26th,
November 26th,
night before Thanksgiving.
And
come on out. Come see it. We're going to hang out for the week. We're going to have a blast. I'm so excited.
And that pyramid show sounds awesome. The Stacks, you've talked about that place a lot. You are not lying. I know all the comedians when they're like, I'm playing at this place. It's my favorite place. They say it about every place. You've talked about this place multiple times.
It's great.
And then that music, like I don't even know what's in it. We've talked about it. We've collaborated on a lot of things together. This is an absolute secret. I've never been more intrigued by anything you've ever done in your whole life. Yeah. And it sounds like there's no better way to spend an afternoon than get out there and see this. It's like the first run of it, right?
Yeah, and it could go terribly wrong too, which is kind of the point of the show, but like it might legitimately go terrible, which is going to make it all the more fun. So come see it crash and burn if you want to too, which I'm very excited about. The band is great though, so regardless, you're going to see a great band play on a Saturday afternoon in March. Why not? Yeah. And make sure you follow us, subscribe to the Sunburnt podcast wherever you get your podcast, wherever you're getting it right now. We really appreciate that, and I'm so excited to get this started with you, Thomas. Get it started with all of our friends, and this has been fun, buddy.
All right, it's been fun, buddy. We'll talk soon.